Hello, welcome once again to the channel on this very nice day here in the UK. Summer, I think, has finally landed. So today I thought I'd come out and do a little test in this glorious weather. A test I've been meaning to do for quite a while. I'm going to fly up, I'm going to get the drone to track me, I'm going to use the Air 3, and then I'm also going to try it with the Mini 4 Pro as well. So the idea is I'm going to walk out into the field and get the drone to track me on parallel, and then halfway through I'm going to switch to spotlight, and we're going to see if the subject stays actually locked on me, because I'm using me as the tracking. So that's the test, and let's see if we can get the result that I'm looking for. I don't see why it shouldn't work, but you never know with these drones and how they play up. So let's get straight on with the test. Air 3 first, and then we'll be back with the Mini 4 Pro. Okay, let's do this. So the first thing we need to do is we need to set up for tracking, and we draw a box around ourselves, make sure that it has recognised you as a person. If you're too far zoomed in, you'll get this error message pop up. So we'll just pop it back out to ×3. We're using the Air 3 on this first demonstration, and it's quite simple really, and it does a pretty good job. So I've set the tracking to parallel, and then we're going to hit go, and that should start tracking me as I walk along this very narrow path. So once we get set up and we get moving, as you can see, it's doing pretty good at tracking me from a distance. And what we're going to do is we're going to reset now to a different side so that we can do a parallel trace. I'm just swinging the drone round. As you can see, it's still got me locked on. We're in spotlight mode at the moment, so we're going to change now to active track. Let's take the drone away a little bit, and then we're going to change to active track and do a parallel. There we go, parallel tracking along this field. You can actually do these maneuvers with any drone that's got tracking and the spotlight feature. So I'm just going to speed this up a little bit, because there's going to be a left-hand turn in a minute, and that's where we're going to try and switch between tracking and spotlight and see what the results are. So we're now slowly approaching the corner where I'm going to switch from active track to spotlight, and you'll see what the difference is. So if you keep your eye on the screen recording, when I click stop, what should happen is that should automatically go into spotlight mode, which it has done. So the drone is now stable and it's just pivoting on its yaw axis, and that's now still recording me and following me down that path, which is quite a good option really, because you can basically switch modes and continue in a spotlight mode. Let's just say there was a busy road in front of you and you didn't want to cross it, and I'm going to come on to that a little bit later on in the video and show you what actually happens when we track a car. And then I've just switched back into parallel mode, and basically what that's doing now is that's following me back up that path, and then when I turn the corner, it should, as you will see, it will track me back down the path. This can be quite useful, as I've just said, like if you're tracking cars or something on busy roads or a railway and you don't want to cross the railway line. You have that option then to continue tracking your subject by using your parallel or your spotlight feature, whichever one that you want to choose. I think this is quite a useful tool actually, being able to continually track your object, whether, like I say, whether it be a car, a subject, a person, even boats on a river. There's another option. So I'll speed this bit up and then I'll show you exactly what I did a little later on, going back into spotlight mode and then using spotlight as you would normally use it. So you can see here I've just stopped the parallel tracking and it's automatically gone into spotlight mode, and the subject is still on me, and that's still tracking me in spotlight mode. And what you can do is now you can use your spotlight mode to its full potential. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing the drone around and then use the spotlight to capture me at different angles. So as you can see here, what I've decided to do is fly a little bit closer towards myself. Like I say, using spotlight keeps you perfectly in the center of frame. And then I'm going to swing the drone around to my right hand side. So you can see how you can use spotlight and tracking in this way and get a very similar result. But switching between the two, you can do your active track and then move to your spotlight, and vice versa, spotlight move to your active track. So that's the Air 3 in its first test. And just right at the end we did get a manned aircraft nearby warning, which is a great feature on the larger drones. So on with the second test, the Mini 4 Pro, this time a little bit different. We're going to use manual tracking. This is where we can use the clock face wheel. Just a little bit different. We're slowly approaching that corner once again. But I thought I'd try this method, switching from this to the spotlight mode, as we did with the Air 3. And as you can see, the Mini 4 is tracking me absolutely fantastic. So coming up to the point where we're going to go around the corner, and I'm going to click stop on the tracking, and then that will then initiate the spotlight feature, which it has done. And as you can see, that's now continuing to once again yaw around on the yaw axis and track me using the spotlight function. I do think this is a really good unique trick, keeping that recording going whilst you're swapping between the different focus track modes, active track and spotlight. Switching back to active track once again on the manual setting. You could actually use point of interest as well if you wanted to. So long as that subject is still selected, you should be able to choose all three. But as you can see just here, it's going to its default position, which is from behind. That can be quite annoying sometimes if you're actually facing the drone and then you switch into manual mode. It will by default come round the back of you, as you can see it's doing just here. But like I've just said, it's a pretty good feature being able to swap between the two modes. I'm just taking it round the front. I'm going to back the drone up a little bit further away from me, and as you can see that's working absolutely fine. So one last test, we're just going to bring it round to the right hand side of it. As you can see, we're still in manual tracking, and then I'm just going to stop that and go switch back into spotlight mode, as you see just there. So there we go, that's it. That's wrapped the Mini 4 up. I'm just going to shoot off now and do a little bit of car tracking as well, just to give you an example of what we can do when we're tracking cars. So similar kind of process. All we need to do is select our object, this being the wife's car. I'm sat in the passenger seat, and we'll select parallel and hit go. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where if you're tracking a vehicle and you're on a main road and you didn't want to cross it for any particular reason, then you can switch from active track to spotlight, as you'll see in a few seconds when we get to the junction. taking it nice and slow. But it is a useful tool to know. It's a bit like an helicopter, a police helicopter chasing a car. This is done at slow speed. Rather than tracking it parallel, if I was to leave it on tracking it, then the drone would swing round and carry on following it on the side. However, we don't know whether there's any objects, so we just flipped into spotlight just there, and then you can see it follows it down that next road. So there you have it. There's the proof in the pudding, as they say. Air 3 with that 70mm lens. That enabled me to get further out and further up and still lock onto a subject, which was me, as you saw in the video. I headed off out and put it into tracking mode on parallel, and as soon as I stopped that, it went straight into spotlight mode, and as you saw, it did what it did. I was able to swing the drone around like you can in point of interest, and then we went on to this little fella, the old mighty Mini 4 Pro, and that didn't let us down neither. Although you have to be careful with the Mini 4 Pro, because if you go too far away, it doesn't actually see you as a subject. But I thought it was an interesting test to bring you guys out this week, and with this glorious weather. It's about 24 degrees C at the moment. Probably rain tomorrow, and that'll be summer over, but there you go. So hope you found the video useful and informative, you got something out of it, and if you did, don't forget, give us the old thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why don't you consider subscribing, dinging the dong and all the rest of it that goes with it. I'm sure you know me by now. And you might like to watch those couple of videos I've chosen for you. And if you do, I shall see you over there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.